Hello friends, my name is Arfat Hussain and I am from Kashmir. In previous video, I told you we will study the endocrinology in detail. We will start it step by step. In previous video, we have got the introduction about the hormones, their derivations. Today we will study about the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is a part of the brain that has a vital role in controlling many bodily functions. Hypothalamus has a vital role in controlling many bodily functions, especially in the endocrine system. It controls many functions in the endocrine system. This hypothalamus lies below the thalamus and above the pituitary gland. So we can say it lies in between the thalamus and the pituitary gland. And one more thing, it's made up of neurons as it is present in the brain. So it's made up of neurons. So it is cells are neurons, simple. So that's why it's also known as neuroendocrine gland, because the cells present in the hypothalamus are neurons. Its hormones are called as factors, or its hormones are called as neurohormones, because the hormones are released by the cells of hypothalamus and the cells are neurons. So simply its hormones are also called as, its secretions are also called as neurohormones are factors. Now pituitary gland is also known as master gland of endocrine system, because it controls all the endocrine glands. It controls all the endocrine glands through tropic hormones. The hormones released by the pituitary gland are known as tropic hormones. Through those tropic hormones, pituitary gland controls all the endocrine glands. But this pituitary gland is controlled by the hypothalamus. So hypothalamus is controlling the master of endocrine system, master gland of endocrine system. So we can say hypothalamus is controlling the master gland of endocrine system, so that this way hypothalamus becomes the master of master gland. Correct? Master of master gland, or we can say simply hypothalamus is then the super master of endocrine system, because it controls the master gland of endocrine system. That's why it's also known as super master of endocrine system, because it controls the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is the master gland of endocrine system. Now, as I told, hypothalamus releases the factors, or we can say the neurohormones. Those factors are of two types: releasing factors and inhibiting factors. So those releasing factors and those inhibiting factors are released by the special neurons of the hypothalamus. So we can say the cells of hypothalamus which are releasing the releasing factors or inhibiting factors, those neurons, those cells of hypothalamus are called as special neurons. Now hypothalamus controls the pituitary gland, so there must be the connection between the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, and that connection is made between the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland through infundibulum. Infundibulum connects the hypothalamus with the pituitary gland, and that infundibulum is also known as hypothalamo-hypophyseal stalk. Hypothalamo-hypophyseal stalk connects the hypothalamus with the pituitary gland, and through that hypothalamo-hypophyseal stalk or infundibulum, hypothalamus controls the pituitary gland. And the axis through which the hypothalamus is connected with the pituitary gland by the infundibulum, that axis is known as hypophysis. Hypophysis is the axis through which the hypothalamus is connected with the pituitary gland by infundibulum or by the hypothalamo-hypophyseal stalk. Now, as you know, hormones reach to the target through blood, because the endocrine glands release their hormones directly into the blood. That's why they are called as hormones. They are the ductless glands. Now hypothalamus releases the releasing factors or inhibiting factors, and those releasing factors or inhibiting factors are reaching to the pituitary gland. How they are reaching to the pituitary gland? Through blood, through veins, and those veins which are carrying the releasing factors and inhibiting factors of hypothalamus, they are called as hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal veins. Hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal veins carries the releasing factors and inhibiting factors of hypothalamus to the pituitary gland. Now, because of these releasing factors and inhibiting factors, it results in the formation of two systems. two systems, on system and off system. Listen carefully, it's important for the internal students. These releasing factors and inhibiting factors leads to the formation of on system and off system. How? I will explain. When hypothalamus releases the releasing factors, those releasing factors activates the intermediate and anterior pituitary. As you know, there are three parts of pituitary gland: anterior pituitary gland, posterior pituitary gland, and intermediate. When releasing factors are released by the hypothalamus and they reach to the anterior and intermediate pituitary gland, they activate it. They activate them. They activate the anterior and intermediate pituitary gland, and this way anterior and intermediate pituitary gland releases the endocrine hormones. So releasing factor is released by the hypothalamus, and those releasing factors activates the anterior pituitary gland and intermediate pituitary gland, and this way anterior and intermediate pituitary gland releases the endocrine hormones. This way this system is known as on system. Now I will come to the off system. When hypothalamus releases the inhibiting factors, those inhibiting factors inactivates the intermediate and anterior pituitary. When anterior pituitary and intermediate pituitary are inactivated, definitely they are not going to release the endocrine hormones. That's why this system is known as off system. So this way releasing and inhibiting factors, releasing hormones and inhibiting hormones creates the two systems, on system and off system. Actually we are discussing the hypothalamus. So here little bit comes about the pituitary gland, because these two glands are connected, very closely connected. Here I will add little bit about the posterior pituitary. We will discuss the pituitary gland separately, but here I will add little bit about the posterior pituitary. Posterior pituitary gland releases the two types of hormones. One, ADH, antidiuretic hormone, that's also known as vasopressin. It constricts the blood vessels. That's why it is known as vasopressin. Vaso means vessels, pressin means constriction, narrowing. It constricts the blood vessels. That's why ADH is also known as vasopressin, antidiuretic hormone. And second one is oxytocin. ADH and oxytocin, they are released by the posterior pituitary gland. This ADH and oxytocin are released by the posterior pituitary gland, but they are produced by the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus produces the oxytocin and ADH, antidiuretic hormone, and they are finally released by the posterior pituitary gland. These two hormones, oxytocin and ADH, they are produced by the hypothalamus, but they are produced in an inactive form. That's an inactive form of oxytocin and ADH that's produced by the hypothalamus, and then they are released by the posterior pituitary in the active form. The inactive form of ADH, antidiuretic hormone, is prepropresophycin. Prepropresophycin is the inactive form of ADH, and they are produced by the supraoptic nuclei of hypothalamus. They are produced by the supraoptic nuclei of hypothalamus. Prepropresophycin, this is the inactive form of ADH. The active form of oxytocin is preprooxyphycin. Preprooxyphycin is the inactive form of oxytocin, and they are produced by the paraventricular nuclei of the hypothalamus. Paraventricular nuclei of the hypothalamus produces the inactive form of oxytocin, that is preprooxyphycin. Now these two inactivated forms of oxytocin and ADH are produced by the hypothalamus, and now they are carried to the posterior pituitary gland. They are carried to the posterior pituitary gland through the axons of the neurons. Through the axons of the neurons, these inactivated forms of ADH and oxytocin are carried towards the posterior pituitary gland. Neurons that form the inactive form of ADH and oxytocin, they are called as magnocellular neurons. Magnocellular neurons are the neurons that form the inactivated form of antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin. Now these inactivated forms of ADH and oxytocin, they are packed in the vesicles. they are packed in the vesicles, and those packed vesicles are known as Gomri bodies, or they are also known as Herring bodies. These inactivated forms of oxytocin and ADH are packed into the vesicles, and those vesicles are known as Gomri bodies or Herring bodies. And those Gomri bodies or Herring bodies release the inactive form of oxytocin and ADH in the posterior pituitary gland. In the posterior pituitary gland, there are the pituitary-cytes. Pituitary-cytes are the cells of pituitary gland. These inactivated forms of ADH and oxytocin, that is prepropresophysin and preprooxyphysin, is converted into the active form in the posterior pituitary gland by the help of an enzyme that's known as alpha amidating glycine monooxygenase. Alpha amidating glycine monooxygenase is an enzyme that converts the inactive form of oxytocin and inactive form of antidiuretic hormone into their active forms. Now we will see the hormones of hypothalamus. Firstly, we will see the releasing factors. For example, when the hypothalamus releases the growth hormone releasing factor. As you know, growth hormone is also known as somatotropin. When growth hormone releasing factor or somatotropin releasing factor is released by the hypothalamus, simple, that somatotropin, that growth hormone releasing factor, activates the anterior pituitary gland. Simple, when anterior pituitary gland is activated by the somatotropin releasing factor or growth hormone releasing factor, this way anterior pituitary gland will release the growth hormone, that's known as somatotropin. Similarly, when adrenocorticotropic hormone releasing factor, or we can say the ACTH releasing factor, is released by the hypothalamus, this way hypothalamus activates the anterior pituitary gland again, and this way anterior pituitary gland releases the ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. When hypothalamus releases the thyroid stimulating hormone releasing factor, that activates the anterior pituitary gland, and this way anterior pituitary gland releases the thyroid stimulating hormone. When hypothalamus releases the prolactin releasing factor, when prolactin releasing factor is released by the hypothalamus, it activates the intermediate pituitary, and this way intermediate pituitary will release the prolactin hormone. Similarly, when hypothalamus releases the gonadotropin releasing factor, again it will activate the anterior pituitary gland, and anterior pituitary gland will release the gonadotropins. Similarly, when hypothalamus releases the melanocyte stimulating hormone releasing factor, MSHRF, melanocyte stimulating hormone releasing factor, again it will activate the intermediate pituitary gland, and intermediate pituitary gland will release the melanocyte stimulating hormone. This way hypothalamus works in the endocrine system. This way hypothalamus makes the pituitary gland to work in the endocrine system. This way hypothalamus is known as supermaster of endocrine system. Now there is another type that's known as inhibiting factors. Simple, that's opposite of the releasing factors. Here in releasing factors, we saw the growth hormone releasing factor that activates the anterior pituitary. Here it is growth hormone inhibiting factor. It inactivates the anterior pituitary and does not allow the pituitary gland, anterior pituitary, to release the growth hormone. And this is all about the hypothalamus, and we'll see the next topic in the next video, and hopefully we'll discuss the pituitary gland in the next topic in the next video.